clients came to me and said, you know, that he felt that the trousers were too tight, and was there any way I could release the band? And he had some other clothes here as well, and what was really interesting was that when I measured the waist of these and the waist of the other trousers, they were exactly the same. And then I measured his waist and it was exactly the same. So the interesting thing was that it wasn't the waist. But if you look at them, what you can see is the zip is kind of bunching like this. So, and then when he actually put them on, this area here is where the problem was. When I had a look at it, and I have actually unpicked that seam down there because I'm going to, what I'm going to do, but when I had a look at it, even with that stitch, this was actually puckering and bunching at the zip area. Now, it's not something that comes up a lot, but when you've got someone who feels like the garment is too tight, and particularly in that area, one thing that you can do is move not this side of the zip, but move this side of the zip across. And that's where I think the problem is. I think that the zip is too far back on this flap area here. It's too far back. So what's happening is that when that's done up, it's actually pulling across like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to undo the zip. So I've undone the flap section here. I've undone that seam there, which allows that to be free. And then I'll undo the zip and I'll repin it, and I'll pin it so that it's actually a little bit closer. And what that will do is if I move it, say about that much, then it's going to resolve the issue, I guess you could say, because that's about how much it's too tight. So I'll show you what it looks like when it's finished.
Whenever you're replacing a zip, in this case obviously all I've done is just unpick one side, but you would always sew the side that's currently stitched first, and then you would do this side second. And of course, if you really need to do the zip up so that you can make sure that the band on either side is going to be level, because if you pin it incorrectly, the band on one side could be higher or lower than the other. Now, as I said before, you can see that the zip was way too far across towards the inside of that zip flap. So I'm pinning it where I think it will be correct. I usually only put 3 pins in for this size zip, but I pin the bottom first. Now I'm just going to pin the top. And what is important is that once you've got it pinned, before you do anything, just turn it so that you're looking at it from the right side like I'm about to do now, and check and make sure that the band lines up. You can see there that the button and the band will line up. Plus there's no puckering at the bottom of the zip. That's extremely important as well. So you can see there that it's sitting nicely, and I'm really happy with how that will be once it's stitched. Now, I didn't bother showing you how to sew it. I mean, basically it's pretty simple. You do one row of stitching in the middle of that zipper tape, and then do a second row at the very side, so that you know, even if one section comes off, the other one's not. You may have to ease it in a little bit, because sometimes when a zip is unpicked it can stretch, and then once you've done that, then you just need to stitch it down, stitch that flap down like it was originally. So you can see there the finished repair, I guess you would call it, and you can see that when I pull it there's no puckering like there was before. So if you ever come across this situation, you know, instead of looking at maybe releasing side seams or releasing bands, you might look at just releasing one side of the zipper. Happy altering!